Okay, sorry everyone. I hope you are back with us. Technology can be wonderful, but it can also be a pain when it doesn't want to work. So I think, you know what, it's probably going to be a really brilliant evening, and that's why maybe something's trying to stop us. But it's not going to work, is it? It's going to be a fantastic hour. So thank you very, very much for joining me, everyone that is here. Thank you for taking time. If you see me looking down, it's because I've got a few prompts because I know I like to talk and I don't want to get sidetracked. So I've got a few things down that I really want to make sure we get out this evening. So as I said, so that is a little bit about my guest. And we're going to hear from him now, I think, really. So welcome to DJ Sabanjo. Thank you so much for giving up this hour. And I know you've got something wonderful to everyone that has logged on this evening. And we're going to learn. We're ready and waiting. So, yeah, thank you again this evening for joining us.
Thanks, Selina. I'm really excited to be here, and I'm pretty certain that we're going to have a really wonderful and productive time. So thanks again for having me.
No problem at all. Just to say to everyone as well, obviously I know you're going to be making lots of notes, but what we also want to make sure we do is think about our actions that we're going to be taking away. So as you're writing your notes, maybe make a list also of actions that you're going to be doing from this evening as well. So any actions, takeaways, things that you're definitely going to get working on as well. All right, so that way it's not just empty information. So, okay, so let's get back to what we're doing. So, DJ, just tell us what inspired you to get into this. Why did you do what you do? Why do you love it so much?
Okay. That's a really interesting question, and I don't know how do I answer it. I think I do this because one, I really genuinely do care about people first of all, but and cliche. I know that the difficulties that I went through when I started to build my career, I'm going to be sharing some of that with us tonight. In the very beginning, I'm sure many of us know situations where we've applied for one position after another, and we keep getting these letters coming back saying we're sorry, but at this point in time, we can't go forward with your application. Back in the day, it used
Yeah.
to be in the post. Now it's just email. They don't even bother sending you a letter in the post anymore. Just, oh,
Get
we
it.
had a massive volume, and we're just going to keep your file, your information. If anything comes up, we'll let you know that that's usually never going to happen. And there's lots of talented people out there. And I think that's the thing. There's lots of really talented people out there who are not getting jobs. They're not getting positions. Things are not going as fast as they want to go. And they see other people who are not as good as they are, whose careers are advancing, and they're not. And it can be frustrating. And I know because I've been there. And I think for me, what happened was I figured out how to overcome this. I mean, having struggled for about 2 years, I then began to really understand
Right,
how it really works.
yeah.
And because I'm this sort of person, I have a passion to learn and to teach. I'm one of these people, if I find something that works, I just want to show other people as who can get similar results, which is the reason why I do a lot of work as a coach and as a trainer, because I just really care. I really genuinely love helping other people. So, because one, this has worked for me, and I've seen a lot of other people struggle, I didn't intend to be a careers consultant. I was working in management and leadership development in the corporate world, and I was coaching and training managers and designing management development strategies for organizations. But what I realized was within organizations, I would come across people, managers at the time, who were struggling to move to the next level in their career. DJ, why this happened. They had all sorts of theories about why things weren't happening. And I just began to share with them what had worked for me. And
Exactly.
they began to get similar results. And then word began to get around that, hey, if you're having this sort of challenge, speak to DJ. That's how it started. So it wasn't intentional. And then I began to do a lot more and a lot more of that until some point when I realized, you know what, there are a lot of people out there who have similar needs, and why don't I just package myself and serve this market and really just make a big difference in that community? So that's in a summary.
Okay,
Thank
lovely. I totally resonate with what you said. I think we've got another practitioner who works in the careers industry as well, and I think a lot of us just kind of find ourselves in
Yeah.
that industry. We love it when we get there, but I don't know many people kind of do sound saying want to be a careers advisor or a careers coach, but
Hmm.
you're doing things and you get there and it's like a real buzz and passion just to help people to drive. So I totally resonate. Um, and you mentioned as well that a lot of people that are kind of struggling. I've came across as a careers consultant lots of wonderful people, and
Hmm.
they're great, they're brilliant, everything is there, they seem to be the whole package. But what is it that stops people? What is it? Why can't those brilliant people make it? Why?
That is very valid, and that a lot of people ask, and there's a lot of frustration. But I think what I'll do is I'll quickly highlight what I call the four myths, and these are the myths that people believe that hold them back in their careers. They believe these things maybe because maybe someone told it to them when they were younger, or maybe they observed wrongly and they came to certain conclusions which are wrong. And I'll just highlight these four myths quickly that hold people back. Number one is the hard work myth. The hard work myth is this: it's people who believe if I work the hardest, if I show up earlier than everybody else, and if I'm the last to leave, pour myself into my work, and I work my backside off, that if I did that, that would help me move my career to the next level. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying be lazy. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm sure, Selena, you know people who have worked really, really hard, who are hard workers. They're not lazy, but they're still struggling in their careers. Because the reality is this, as far as career advancement is concerned, while hard work is a good thing, it is not the primary thing. And if people come into building a career assuming that the key to acceleration is working hard, they will be frustrated, especially when they see people who are not are they are. It can end up being very, very frustrating. Then the second myth is what I call the skills or qualifications myth. This is a big one, especially for I mean for people from the Afro Caribbean community. I've seen a lot of people because we were brought up. I know how when I was brought up and what our parents said. You will go to university and you will get a first degree and then get a few second degrees and all of that because when you get all these qualifications, you get yourself a really brilliant job. Now, and so people assume that if I'm the most skillful person in the room, if I have more letters after my name than anybody else, then my career should advance. I remembered one client who I was with, and she was very, very frustrated. She was a frontline manager in this organization, and her aspiration was to move from frontline management to middle management, which is a good thing. It's a good thing to aspire to. So she went and did an MBA. So she sponsored herself on her MBA. I guess maybe the company didn't sponsor her. I don't know why, but she went and she got an MBA, and she did well. And her assumption was once she had gotten her MBA, that should enable her to move from frontline management to middle management. After her MBA, still was in frontline management. So we sat down, we had a session, and she was really complaining. She was upset. It's because I'm this, it's because I'm that, and she went through all those other things. I see all the people who are in middle management. I'm more qualified than they are. None of them have an MBA. I have an MBA. How come I didn't get this opportunity? And I said, and I sat down with her and I empathized with her because I could understand her pain and her frustration because she was believing a myth. So my question was, okay, um, how many people in middle management in your department have an MBA? She said, none of them. I said, so why did you think getting an MBA was good? I mean, if it was a prerequisite, then everyone who was there would have it. And so her assumption was if she was the most qualified person, if she had the most, then had the most qualifications, that would automatically ensure she gets the role. And that's another myth that people believe. Don't get me wrong. I believe in skill development. I believe in qualifications open doors for you. Qualifications are useful. Being highly skilled is essential. However, that is not the key to career acceleration. But that's a myth that a lot of people believe, and then they become very people who they assume are not as skilled as they are see their careers accelerating, and there's a not. And that's one thing I've seen very commonly, especially when we look at people who are looking to advance to management within organizations. And the third myth is the one that's called the face that fits myth. I hear that one a lot. I mean, I've worked with and I've coached, and this is no exaggeration, thousands and trained thousands of people in the areas of everything to do with moving your career to the next level. And people, and I've just, I'm a woman. You know, it's because I'm black. It's because I'm Asian. It's because I'm gay. It's because I'm a white heterosexual male. It's because I'm young. It's because I'm not so young anymore. It's because and people just go into these, you know, it's because that's the reason why it's not happening for me. There's a conspiracy against black people. There's a conspiracy against women. There's a conspiracy against gay people. No, if you're white, male, and heterosexual, you don't have a chance anymore. And you hear, and every people group, it's like almost like if there's discrimination against every single people group, then who's getting the jobs? Right? Who's getting the career advancement? And don't get me wrong, am I saying there's no discrimination? Of course there is. I'd be naive to say there isn't. However, the reality is, and this is the key thing, is what happens for people is you see what you're looking for, right? And so a person is not able to move their career forward, and then they begin to notice, they begin to look for why they're not moving it forward, and they begin to look at other people rather than look at themselves. And when they look at other people for as the reason why their careers are not going forward, they would find something to hook onto. And once they find that, that becomes a, then they get one sort of stronghold, they stop trying because they believe it's them against the world. And for every person who's in the people group who is struggling in their career, I will show them 10 people who are in that same people group whose careers are accelerating. Why? Because that is, while there are a few people who are discriminatory, the reality is for most of the time it's simply because that person has not yet figured out the key to career acceleration. And the fourth one, which is one that really annoys me, is the luck myth, where people just assume, you know what, it's just because they're lucky. Well, what I'll say is this: why some people all the time, while some people tend to never ever be lucky, and some people tend to be lucky once in a while. When you see a person who's lucky once in a while, well, luck happens. You know, sometimes you win the lottery. It's called luck. But if you see a person who wins the lottery every other week,
Yeah.
right? They have a strategy. Okay. Okay. So, if you believe that career acceleration is about luck, the reality is there's going to be a limit to how far you can go and how quickly you can go. The truth, though, is when you see how careers quickly, people who come into an organization and within 2 years they just shoot past people, and you just begin to think, what's it about them? It is because they're intentional about growing their careers. They know something the others don't know. They're applying that in their careers, and it's enabling them get results. The reason why most people struggle is this: we never were taught how to grow our careers. We were only taught to develop certain skills. And if you
Mm.
and so the ability to do a
And
job
this is
and the
getting into
ability to get a job are two different things. I'll say that again. The
right.
ability to do a job and the
Yeah.
ability to get a job are two
Yeah.
different things. Most people haven't developed the ability to advance their careers. And that's why they
Okay, so it sounds like it's a real mind. It's not just it taking it away from the practical, but it's about a deeper issue. So are you going to tell us about what we can do to avoid these more? How do we plan to grow our careers? with that,